Imagine living in a world where Christmas could be outlawed, where wearing the wrong clothes might land you in jail, or where a single word in church could destroy your reputation. Sounds unbelievable, right? But in the 1700s, this was reality. Kings, queens, and lawmakers enforced rules that now seem more like absurd comedy than serious lawmaking. In this video, we explore the bizarre punishments for public crying to strict controls over coffee drinking. These laws shaped everyday life in shocking ways. Today, we're uncovering the 50 crazy laws from the 1700s that will leave you saying, what were they thinking? 1. Religion ruled everything. In the 1700s, religion shaped laws across Europe and America. Sunday laws banned sports, travel, and even whistling in public. Shops closed and blasphemy meant jail or fines. These rules weren't just about crime, they controlled morality, making religion the law's foundation in everyday life. 2. Christmas could be illegal. Puritan leaders saw Christmas as pagan and banned it in the 1600s to the 1700s during England and the New England colonies. Families worked on December 25th while soldiers seized holiday food. People were even arrested for baking pies. Celebrating Christmas could turn ordinary families into lawbreakers under strict Puritan control. 3. Dress codes with real punishments. Sumptuary laws restricted fashion by class. Commoners couldn't wear silk, velvet, or lace in England and America. In France, women needed police permission for wearing trousers. Breaking these rules brought fines or jail. Clothing became a legal tool to maintain status, wealth, and social divisions. 4. Beards and appearance taxes. Peter the Great modernized Russia with strange laws, including a beard tax. Men paid fees to keep beards or had them shaved publicly. A special token proved payment. Refusal risked forced shaving. Appearance itself became taxable, turning personal style into state-controlled property in early 1700s, Russia. 5. Laws against crying. Public crying was restricted in some European regions. Loud wailing at funerals or mourning displays were considered disorderly. Men especially were discouraged from tears as laws and customs equated emotions with weakness. 6. Marriage control. In England, marriages outside the Church of England were illegal. Children from such unions could be declared illegitimate. France required parental permission for young women. American colonies banned interracial marriages with severe punishment for couples. Marriage was tightly controlled by church and state, which limited personal freedom and love. 7. Punishments for funerals and weddings. Funeral processions couldn't be disturbed in Scotland. In parts of Germany, wasting food like throwing rice at weddings led to fines. Loud objections during ceremonies were treated as criminal acts. Weddings and funerals were joy and grief under watchful laws, with even small disruptions punished strictly. 8. No dancing in certain places. Puritan towns banned dancing between men and women on Sundays. Many regions required licenses for dance halls or banned dancing altogether. What's now harmless fun was seen as sinful, with religious leaders turning dance floors into legal battlegrounds over morality and public behaviour. 9. Food and dining laws. England's bread laws regulated prices, weights, and baking standards. Bakers cheating customers risked fines or public humiliation. In France, bread riots erupted over strict controls. American colonies banned alcohol sales during certain hours. 10. Animal laws. Animals weren't exempt from the law. In American colonies, free-roaming pigs damaging crops could be executed without compensation. In England, only wealthy landowners could legally hunt deer or rabbits. 11. Superstitions became laws. Superstition often became law. In Salem and beyond, witchcraft laws lingered into the 1700s. Accusations could still lead to trials or imprisonment even after the infamous Salem witch trials ended. These laws show how fear shaped justice, where belief in sorcery was enough to ruin lives and destroy communities. 12th speech and swearing bans. Free speech didn't exist in the 1700s. England punished blasphemy while colonies fined or whipped people for swearing publicly. Virginia even outlawed taking God's name in vain. Words carried legal consequences, with ordinary speech policed by law. Speaking freely or even cursing could mean humiliation, punishment, or monetary penalties. 13th military and weapon laws. Weapon ownership was tightly controlled. In Europe, commoners couldn't legally carry swords or firearms, which were privileges reserved for nobility and soldiers. 14. Travel restrictions. Travel was not a right in the 1700s. In England, vagrancy laws punished those wandering without work. In France, internal passports were required to move between provinces. Peasants often needed official permission to leave villages. 15. Laws about entertainment. Entertainment was tightly controlled. In England, theatre scripts needed approval. Anything political or immoral could be banned. Puritan colonies outlawed plays altogether, calling them sinful. Even simple games like dice or cards faced restrictions. Leisure activities weren't private joys, they were legal battles where enjoyment risked fines, shame, or arrest. 16. Gender-specific rules. Women lived under laws stripping independence. Married women couldn't own property, while in France they needed police permission to wear trousers. In Puritan New England, gossiping too loudly brought fines. 17. Absurd punishments. The punishments were as extreme as the laws. Public stocks, pillories, and humiliation awaited those who swore or skipped church. Russia punished men for refusing beard laws. In England, poachers were shipped to penal colonies like Australia. 18. Taxation and money laws. Taxes controlled daily life. France taxed salt, while Britain taxed tea in the colonies, sparking historic protests like the Boston Tea Party. These taxes weren't minor inconveniences, but catalysts for revolution. Breaking tax laws meant punishment, but following them meant exploitation. Money laws weren't just financial, they shaped history around the world. 19. Work and labour restrictions. Labour was controlled by law. England set maximum wages, while France's guilds dictated trades. In colonies, indentured servants and enslaved people endured brutal legal codes treating them as property. Work wasn't freedom. It was enforced obligation. Laws ensured labour benefited elites, while workers and servants bore punishment for disobedience. 20. The world of the ridiculous. Some laws were simply absurd. In Europe, elaborate funeral clothes were banned as wasteful. Puritan New England demanded modest haircuts. In Russia, even coat length could be regulated. These ridiculous laws weren't about justice, but control. 21. No coffee houses without licenses. In the 1700s England, coffee houses were seen as dangerous spots where political debates spread rebellion ideas. Owners needed licenses, and authorities could shut them down anytime. For commoners, enjoying coffee publicly became a bold act as rulers feared free speech could threaten royal power and stability. 22. Tea, drinking bans and taxes. Tea was linked to wealth and control. In Asia, commoners needed permission to drink tea. In America, Britain's tea taxes angered colonists, sparking the Boston Tea Party in 1773. A simple drink became the center of rebellion, fueling protests and the American Revolution. 23. Women barred from inheriting land. Across the 1700s Europe, laws prevented women from freely inheriting property. Estates passed to male heirs, while widows often lost land to husbands' relatives. Women faced endless legal struggles, leaving them financially dependent and reinforcing gender inequality for generations, keeping wealth firmly in the hands of men. 24. Death penalty for clothing theft. Under England's bloody code, stealing clothes could mean execution. Clothes were valuable and theft was treated as a serious crime. Many poor people stole for survival, which put them at risk of death sentences, showing how laws prioritized property protection over human life in the 1700s. 25. Strict gambling restrictions imposed. Gambling was popular among all classes, but strict laws limited where and when it happened. Unauthorized games led to fines, jail, or public shaming. Authorities claimed moral reasons, but profits from licensed gambling always benefited the state and royal officials directly. 26. Owning banned books was illegal. Books criticizing religion or rulers were banned across Europe. Enlightenment writers like Voltaire secretly published works to escape censorship. Reading or owning banned texts could bring fines, jail, or even death, turning the knowledge into a daring act against powerful authorities. 27. Heavy restrictions on smoking. Governments heavily taxed tobacco, treating it as both a luxury and a revenue source. In Russia, smuggling tobacco carried a death penalty. Across Europe, smoking without paying taxes meant fines, proving rulers controlled even small personal habits for power and profit. 28th Puritan colonies drinking laws. In Puritan America, drunkenness was sinful and illegal. Public intoxication brought fines, stocks, or whippings. Taverns were closely monitored as authorities believed drinking led to crime, chaos, and moral decay, with authorities enforcing strict laws to keep society disciplined and religiously pure. 29th Street music required approval. In 1700s London, street performers needed official permission. Unlicensed music was seen as disruptive or linked to crime. Playing without approval risked fines, arrests, or confiscated instruments, letting rulers control public spaces and gatherings through performance laws. 30. Forced church attendance mandated. In Europe and New England, church attendance was mandatory by law. Missing services led to fines or public punishment. Authorities saw absence as rebellion against religion and government. 31. Ban on public kissing. Puritan settlements banned public kissing, viewing it as sinful. Even married couples risked fines for showing affection. Authorities believed such behavior weakened morality and encouraged indecency. 32. No theatre on Sundays. Theatres in England were forbidden to operate on Sundays. Leaders believed leisure distracted people from worship and corrupted society. Actors and audiences who violated the law faced fines. Joy, laughter, and performance were seen as disrespectful on the Sabbath. 33. Laws on hair length. Peter the Great of Russia forced men to cut their beards and long hair. Those refusing had to pay fines or face public shaving. This law symbolized his push for Western modernization. What many considered sacred tradition became criminal. 34. Restrictions on printing. Printers in England and France needed royal licenses to publish. Any text criticizing rulers or the church was banned. Writers and printers risked jail or even execution for unapproved works. These restrictions kept knowledge under tight control, silencing dissenting voices during a period when ideas were rapidly changing. 35. Tax on windows. England and France taxed windows, forcing poor families to board or brick them up. Homes turned dark and unhealthy, showing how sunlight itself became a luxury for the wealthy. 36. No begging without papers. Beggars needed licenses in England. Without papers, they risked jail, whipping, or workhouses. Poverty itself became criminal, punishing desperate people instead of helping them survive. 37. Curfew laws. Bells signalled curfews across Europe. Being outside after hours risked fines or arrest. Officials claimed safety, but curfews really enforced government control over ordinary lives. 38. Marriage age laws. Men under 21 and women under 25 needed parental consent to marry. Love was controlled by family and law, making marriages a political and legal matter. 39th ban on duels. Duels were outlawed to stop deaths and rebellion, yet aristocrats ignored laws, risking lives to protect honor, challenging state power despite heavy punishments. 40. Laws against fortune-telling. Fortune-telling and astrology were banned as fraud or witchcraft. Authorities feared rebellion and religious defiance, yet people secretly sought predictions despite fines or imprisonment. 41. Restrictions on travel abroad. Leaving the country without royal permission was illegal. Monarchs treated citizens as state property, with unauthorized travelers facing imprisonment or charges of treason. 42. Punishments for missing work. French workers missing shifts risked fines or dismissal. Peasants owed labor to lords, showing work laws enforced obligation, not freedom, across classes. 43. Laws against owning pets. Exotic pets were banned without permission. Nobles kept falcons or dogs, while commoners risked fines for animals, reinforcing strict class differences in everyday life. 44. No singing in taverns. Rowdy songs in taverns were outlawed. Authorities feared drunkenness, dissent, and rebellion, fining owners for customers singing in public spaces. 45. Limits on firewood collection. Peasants needed permission to gather firewood. Illegal collection risked punishment, leaving poor families freezing while nobles guarded forests for themselves. 46. Censorship of theatre scripts. Plays needed government approval. Any political or immoral lines were banned, turning theatre into propaganda controlled by rulers, silencing public voices. 47. Strict food imports. Colonial trade laws taxed sugar, rum, and molasses. Smuggling was common but risky, with punishments including prison and seized ships for violators. 48. No playing games on Sundays. Puritan colonies banned cards, dice, or play on Sundays. Fun was criminalized, leaving the Sabbath for worship only under strict control. 49. Laws about names. Catholic countries forced parents to choose saint or biblical names, rejecting unusual ones to keep religious authority over personal identity strong. 50. Laws against secret meetings. Unlicensed gatherings risked arrest in England. Authorities feared rebellions, criminalizing even harmless meetings to control ideas and community connections. So there you have it. 50 crazy laws people actually lived under in the 1700s. From bans on Christmas to taxes on beards, from the laws against crying to rules about trousers, these strange laws show just how different life was only a few centuries ago. It really makes you wonder, centuries from now, which of our modern laws will future generations find ridiculous? Will they laugh at our rules the same way we laugh at the Christmas ban or the beard tax today? Thanks for watching. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed this video.